Osun State is an inland state in southwestern Nigeria. Its capital is Osogbo. It is home to several of Nigeria's most famous landmarks, including the campus of Obafemi Awolowo University, Nigeria's preeminent institution of higher learning. The major ethnic group in the state is Yoruba. The modern Osun State was created in 1991 from part of the old Oyo State. The state's name is derived from the river Osun, the venerated natural spring that is the manifestation of the Yoruba goddess of the same name. The state has a rich cultural heritage with some world-renowned tourist attractions. So, we began the quest of unearthing the mystery behind some of these antiquities, and our first stop was at the site of the Oranmiyan Staff in Ile-Ife. Oranmiyan was the 6th king, the Oni of Ife, and according to Ife oral tradition, Oranmiyan was one of the grandsons of Oduduwa. He was also a warrior fighting wars of expansion. He wasn't just a warrior though, but a giant one, as revealed by his tall giant staff, which he used in his day-to-day activities. Chief Olaolu Omiwenu Odeyele is the Onwa Eredumi of Ife, in charge of the staff. He explained to us how the staff ended up here and its significance in the installation rite of the Oni of Ife, as well as the Alaafin of Oyo.
Oranmiyan kò sí nǹkan tí èèyàn bá dìde ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àdéhùn pẹ̀lú ìgbàgbọ́ tó béèrè tí ò rí gbà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Bí ìbá fẹ́ dáwọ́ lé nǹkan kan tó ṣe pàtàkì, bóyá olóṣèlú ni o, bóyá ènìyàn rọmọ bí ni o, bóyá ènìyàn wáṣẹ́ ni o, tó bá débẹ̀ tó bá ṣàdéhùn pé Oranmiyan dákun ṣàánú mi, mo ń fẹ́ nǹkan báyìí ṣe fún mi. The
staff is 5.5 centimeters in height and about 4 feet square in width at the base. So, from the site of Oranmiyan Staff, we headed straight down to Oduduwa's home. Many denote Oduduwa to mean the essence of behavior, or the reservoir of culture and manners. Oral history of the Oyo Yoruba recounts the coming of the king Oduduwa from the east. When Oduduwa arrived in ancient Ife, he and his group are believed to have conquered the component communities and to have evolved the palace structure with its effective centralized power and dynasty. He is commonly referred to as the first Oni of Ife and father of the Yoruba people. On getting there, coincidentally, we met a gathering of elder statesmen, each saddled with the responsibility of a particular deity in Ile-Ife. King Olajide Farotimi Faloba is in charge of the Oduduwa's home. He says Oduduwa is the source of human existence.
Ibi tí a wà ìlà ń pè ní ilé Oduduwa, Afẹ́mọ̀rọ̀, Awẹ́rò Jagun, Àṣàlẹ̀ Olúfẹ̀. Ibi tí a wà yìí pẹ̀lú orísun gbogbo àgbáyé pátá, ibi tí ayé ti ṣẹ̀. Òun náà sì ní bàbá gbogbo wa látòkè dúdú. Tá bá níbi tí Ile-Ife ti ṣẹ̀, òun ló ṣẹ̀dá gbogbo nǹkan tí tá wà lórí ẹ̀ lónìí. Tá bá ń sọ pé Alára, Ajérò, Ọ̀ràngún kankan, ara Oduduwa ni gbogbo ẹ̀yà ti jáde wá. Tẹ́ bá ń wá pàmì Òṣìmí tí mo wà níbí, ibẹ̀ nílé àwọn ọba aládémẹ́rìnlógún tó jẹ́ pé nígbà àṣẹ ibẹ̀ níbi wọ́n ti lọ kẹ́tọ́ lọ síta jẹ́ lọ pé robi tán kálukú lọ látara àdọ́sọ gbogbo àyàn gbogbo ẹ̀ ti ṣe jáde.
Ọba Mary ni òòṣà tí èmi jókòó tì gẹ́gẹ́ bí akápò Ọba Mary. Ìjọ márùn-ún la máa ń bọ̀ ọjọ́ Àìgbàjú. So a lè ṣe ká má bọ̀ nígbà tí àwa ń bá Oòduà àṣejọba ń gbà yẹn. Ó ní bó ṣe jẹ́ lọ́hùn tí màá sọ tiẹ̀ tó fi jẹ́ pé àwọn òòṣà ìjọ márùn-ún la máa ń bọ̀ wọ́n. So tí ìlú fi máa tó bá tá fi tù sẹ́.
Whatever the controversy surrounding the myth of Oduduwa, the Yorubas will feel they owe much of their existence to him. Then, from the cradle of early human existence, we journeyed again down to Erin Ijesha in Osun State, host community of the Olumirin waterfalls. For years now, the waterfalls has become one of the major tourist centers in Nigeria. It was first discovered by some hunters in the year 1140 after the death of Jesus Christ. The hunters had traveled 17 days from Ile-Ife, led by Yeye Aye Akinla, one of Oduduwa's daughters. This is the Erin Ijesha waterfall here in Osun State, southwest Nigeria. It's the river discovered so many years ago by some hunters who traveled for 17 days from Ile-Ife down here. And ever since, it has become a monumental historical attraction site of some sort in the country, where many would travel from far and wide, even outside Nigeria, to just come and have a feel of the river. So we proceeded to the office of the chairman of Osun Tourism Board, Engineer Abimbola Daniyon, who tells us there are even more, like the Ayikonugba waterfall, which he describes as a complete opposite of the Olumirin waterfalls.
Osun has several other waterfalls. Another one which is the opposite of the Olumirin waterfalls. You know, you keep rising to meet the waterfall at Olumirin, which is at Erin Ijesha, in Oriade local government. The one at Oke-Ila-Orangun, the Ayikunugba waterfalls, you will descend into the valley and suddenly you find yourself totally cut off and surrounded by hills, and you find the water gushing. It's so cold, you will be wondering, are you still in Nigeria? The reality is that that is one of the wonders of God, which we enjoy in Osun.
With the hectic climb up the hill, many never get to the 7th level, with most stopping at the 2nd. With this in mind, the Osun State government is already planning massively to ease the pain of exasperating climbing.
People come from as far away as Delta State, Lagos State, Kwara, Ondo, Ekiti, Oyo, Ogun, everywhere. Although people come because it's unique. And so we are working to add facilities to make people really comfortable there. Facilities that they can enjoy, better eating places, better relaxation spots, more interaction with the water by putting around the gazebos, water slides into which wading pools into which people can play safely.
Coming up here the hill is, to say the least, a great trek. But just the comfort you get up this hill would compensate for any kind of discomfort or pain you may go through climbing the hill. Just as you can see, many of the people in the river have actually forgotten the pain they went through climbing this hill. Aro David is a revenue collector here. He explains the significance of this unique discovery and its healing powers.
Good. Some people has been coming. That is about 3 of them from Badagry side. They came. They even give some people that they thank God that that was a man. Even here, he said that there was a time they came here, the woman has a certain problem. On using the water now, the problem was off. It's evident. I myself, since I come here now, at least in a day, I used to bath with water with 3 times a day. That I never fall sick since almost 2 years ago. I've been here now. I thank God for that.
People will travel far and wide to have their bath in this river. And despite the claims of its healing powers, most of the people here say they are not aware of any, but will not deny the river's overall effect.
I hate so, but I've not actually experienced such things for real. But the water is so cold and so natural, and the environment is so cool. It's just a place to be.
I just feel fun. I love the place. It's really interesting. It's fun to be here, and the water is so cool, and it's a very good way of relaxing.
After having a bath in the river myself for several minutes, it must be said that it was highly refreshing. But I never experienced any kind of healing, even though I didn't go there with any ailments. From here, our journey took us down to Osogbo, the state capital, which happens to be our last place of visit in this our seemingly never-ending search of historic, monumental sites in Osun State. The Osun-Osogbo Sacred Grove is among the last of the sacred forest which usually adjoin the edges of most Yoruba cities before extensive urbanization. We are here now at the Osun-Osogbo Grove. It's a sacred forest along the banks of the Osun River just outside the city of Osogbo, southwest Nigeria. And here, no residential building is allowed, no killing of any kind of animal is allowed, no fishing, no hunting or felling of the tree. And don't forget, this is where Osogbo started from. In recognition of its global significance and cultural value, the Sacred Grove was inscribed as a United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2005. To see monkeys jump up and down the street here is not an uncommon occurrence, especially if you have what they want with you: bananas. Adedoyin Talabi Fani is the adopted daughter of late Susan Wenger, an Austrian artist who resided in Nigeria until death, and whose main focus was the Yoruba culture and the preservation of the forest. Talabi tells us how the name Osogbo came about and what the grove stands for.
Osun is the deity in charge of fertility as well as waters of life, and the first ancestors of Osogbo, they came in search of water. One of them was hunting, but he discovered the abundant water there, and he went back to Igbo-Ipole. The name of the hunter was Oguntimai. But out of scarcity of water, they left Igbo-Ipole to come to Osun Groves, and they started living there. But one day, one of them was cutting trees, and one of the trees fell into the river, and the voice came out, "Oh, so Igbo, Gbogbo Ikoko Aro mi leti fortan," meaning that you, the wizards of the forest, you've broken all my dying pots. And Osun ordered them to leave the sacred place and to go to another place. She gave them the amount of feet in measurement that where they should stay, and they stayed that as the second place. But when they were expanding, Osun ordered them again to come to the main town where we have the palace shrine today. And when they settled down, they decided to have the name for the community, and they said from the voice they heard from the river Osogbo, that is where Osogbo is being derived.
The Osun Grove is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Center, and it's because of the history, because of the culture, and because of the improvements done there. Inside the grove you find the first palace, you find also the second palace of the Ataoja, and when you are taken on a guided tour of the place, you get to know more. We are preparing a simple brochure that tells people about the grove.
This is the Osun River right under the suspended bridge, or what I call the bouncing bridge, really. And people will travel far and wide from all over the world just to come and have a take of this water. And most of them will even have their bath in it because they believe it has some healing powers. But whatever their faith is, we've experienced varying degrees of testimonies about the efficacy of this water. And many of these Osun devotees would never forget the impact of late Madam Susan Wenger, who really devoted her life to this sacred place.
Lion structures represent the what we do when they are duration of
Fogbonja Ola Abayomi is a chief guide at the grove. He took us on a tour of the sacred forest, explaining some of the iconic works of art. I'm standing now on a suspended bridge right at the heart of the forest and just above the Osun River. Built some 72 years ago, this bridge is meant to commute people from one point to another in the forest. And the reason why there are no pillars underneath is because the Osun goddess forbids it. And this, just like many other architectural designs in this forest, owe much to the genius of late Madam Susan Wenger, who devoted some 50 years of her life to preserving this forest. This is Ela, a rare god which lives in the air, serving as an intermediary between God in heaven and human on earth. And here is Ayedakun building, where Susan Wenger lived in the grove. We went round the building and straight up where she slept while alive. Every year, the Osun-Osogbo festival is celebrated in the month of August at the grove. Yearly, the festival attracts thousands of Osun worshippers, spectators, and tourists from all walks of life. For the people of Osogbo land, August is a month of celebration and cultural reunion of the people with their ancestors and founders of the Osogbo kingdom. The festival is a 2-week-long program. It starts with the traditional cleansing of the town, which is followed in 3 days by the lighting of the over 500-year-old 16-point lamp called Ina Olojumeri Dilogun, and the rites continue in that manner till the end. And this is it, a demonstrative masterpiece. And wherever our quest takes us next, this place will no doubt stand out as a true wonder of the world. From one of UNESCO's World Heritage Sites here in Osun-Osogbo Sacred Grove in southwest Nigeria.